Hey y'all, and welcome into the Ollie Reed Sports Podcast, giving you the news and notes around the world of high school and college basketball across the Mountain State and beyond. And this is episode 12 tonight here on this beautiful, well, actually kind of rainy Thursday as we're recording this, May 22nd, 2025. Um, just wanted to introduce a friend of mine, Mr. Jagger Matheny, who is set to graduate high school at my alma mater, University High School, tomorrow. Just want to go ahead and introduce it. His camera isn't working today, but he's still here loud and clear. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce him, and he's going to introduce himself here to you guys.
What's up, guys? My name's Jagger Matheny. I'm a senior at University High, but not for much longer because tomorrow night, as Ollie said, I graduate. And so obviously that's very special for me. And I'll be attending West Virginia University in the fall for sports media. And I hope to work on ESPN, Metro News one day and just cover basketball around the state and obviously nationwide. Just something that really has interested me over the last year or two, and Ollie's honestly a big part in that. He's really inspired me. I see Ollie's work ethic every day and the time he puts into getting these names and athletes out there and putting West Virginia on the map. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't know where we'd be right now, but Ollie just does a really good job with what he does and helping get names out there and talking to coaches and players, and he's just really good at what he does.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the kind words, Mr. Jagger. But for those of you who don't know him, like he said before, he's gonna go into WVU, and hopefully to be working for Metro News and stuff like that. And let me tell you something. This kid is the real deal. I mean, me and him have. I mean, I've known him since like I want to say like whenever you were a sophomore in high school, maybe
Yeah,
like a couple years
yeah,
ago.
like 2 3 years now. Yeah,
Yeah, he's always covering, and I always see him at the Fairmont State games. And I always love my Division II basketball because in the Mountain East Conference, that's the best conference in Division II basketball, in my opinion, like nationwide. And that's where the most majority of the kids in West Virginia play at, if they don't go D1. So, and that just goes to show you that's a testament of how good our kids are in the state of West Virginia because, if they don't go D1, then they just make a name for themselves at the Division II level, where whether that be at a Fairmont State or a Wheeling University or a West Liberty or this or College of University of Charleston, excuse me. This like all those schools in general just goes to show you that we have a lot of kids here that can play and that's we have a lot of good guys that can play, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to see that. Um,
yeah.
one of those kids that I want to talk about here is Mr. Braden Hawthorne, back from Beckley, West Virginia. Played at Woodrow Wilson High School his first few years, playing at the high school level, and then transferred to Huntington Prep for his junior and senior year, and then his um, recruitment skyrocketed. Um, after a stellar senior season. Recently he did commit to West Virginia under Coach Darren DeVries, who is now the new head coach at at Indiana University. Uh, and now Braden Hawthorne, he reopened his recruitment, saw a few schools, looked at Kentucky, looked at Duke, the Blue Bloods. The Blue Bloods were coming after him. Once he put his name, reopening his recruitment once the Vrees left, and then saw Virginia Tech and Pitt came in and saw the visits and actually got to meet Coach Ross Hodge, which we'll talk about him in a minute. Um, and we got to see him take all those visits, but the ultimate decision led to him going to the University of Kentucky, the first in-state kid since Patrick Patterson to join a blue blood program, who also joined the Kentucky Wildcats. We remember that. Remember him because West Virginia defeating the Wildcats in that Final Four game. Oh, actually, excuse me, in the Elite Eight for the Mountaineers going to the Final Four in 2010. But nevertheless, Braden Hawthorne is a Kentucky Wildcat, just signed with them today. Jagger, just want to hear your thoughts on Braden Hawthorne committing to Kentucky.
Yeah, I think I think out of all the schools that were offered him and interested in him, out of all of them, I wouldn't have been surprised if he went to one of them. But the one that would have surprised me the most was Duke, particularly because they already have 2 5 stars from this class and a really high 4 star with the one Boozer brother. So
Mhm.
I would have been really surprised if he chose Duke over some of those schools. But I think Kentucky's a really good fit. I mean, I think he's got a really good game, and it's just crazy the amount of spots he's jumped over the last year in the rankings. I mean, this time last year, not many people knew him, and now he's all of a sudden one of the top recruits in the country. He plays. He's a really good scorer. Uh, People criticize his weight and stuff, but I think if he puts on a little bit, he's definitely got the height. He's very athletic. He can score. He reminds me of Kevin Durant when he scores. I mean, he can
Right.
score from everywhere on the floor, and I think he can really make a name for himself at Kentucky.
Absolutely, and and just saying that from before, I mean, Braden Hawthorne, he skyrocketed from like I forget where he was. According to 24/7 Sports, he was I know he was listed somewhere in the 70s and 80s range, and now he went from the 70s all the way up to number 33 in the final 24/7 Sports rankings, and that just goes to show you like how good of a player he really is, and playing for a blue blood program like Kentucky definitely just shows you that we got some ballers here in the state, and just mentioning that, I mean, I know West Virginia fans here are a little bit upset with him leaving, and I know um, about all that, but who's going to turn down Kentucky? I mean, really, who's going to turn down a blue
Yeah,
blood school like that? And like you said before about the Kevin Durant, I mean, Braden Hawthorne was here on the podcast whenever the week after he signed with West Virginia, actually, or
yeah,
well, before he committed. And he said he does model his game from Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram. I see that in him. Um, but to be honest with you, I mean, he's going to be. I mean, I don't know if we'll see him play too much at Kentucky because Kentucky did reload with a really top transfer portal class. Um, and of course, Otega Owe announcing that he may be. Well, he hasn't announced yet, but he looks like he may be returning to the Wildcats for 24-20 in the 2024-25 season. But nevertheless, it's a great day for West Virginia to see an in-state kid playing for a blue blood program like Kentucky, and for the ORS podcast, we could not be more proud of him. We're so very
yeah,
proud of him.
for sure. And I think, in my opinion, Kentucky only gets better adding him. And obviously,
Absolutely,
I understand why people are upset that he didn't choose WVU with him being from in-state, but he chose what's best for him, and he chose where he thinks he's going to do best at, and that's his choice. I think Kentucky's a great fit for anybody like him. I mean, he's only one. I think he's only one spot behind Carmelo Anthony's son Keon. So, like, I think he could play anywhere in the country. So, I think whatever he chose is a good fit. And obviously, he made that decision last night for himself, and I think that was the best choice for him.
absolutely, and at least he gave the new coaching staff a chance at West Virginia,
Yeah,
and definitely getting a chance to talk to them. And going over that, let's now talk about the West Virginia Mountaineers for the basketball program. Obviously, they have they did do a really good job. Coach Ross Hodgson and the coaching staff have done a really good job in the transfer portal, adding Trayson Eaglestaff, one of the top scorers from North Dakota. Scored 40 points against Alabama last season. Obviously, getting Honor Huff, who's like one of the best 3-point shooters in the country, small point guard, but is a really good sharpshooter, along with Jasper Floyd and Brendan Lorient, picking up some players from North Texas, where Coach Ross Hodge was coaching at.
yeah,
Um, and Jackson Fields, who played for the NCAA tournament team at Troy, and then Harlan Obioha, the big 7-footer transfer from UNC Wilmington, another NCAA tournament team that actually gave Texas Tech a game, and
they
Obioha
did.
actually put some pretty good numbers on them too. So, I
Yeah,
mean, we got some
a
guys
lot
that
to
can compete.
a lot to like, and obviously, you hear a lot about Ross's defensive teams, but I think the team he's got now is going to be a Big 12 team. They're fast. I think they're going to move up and down the court fast, and that's what you need in the Big 12. You need depth. You need scores. just guys that can play, and I think that's what he got.
Absolutely, and Ross Hodge is a defensive guy. I feel like we're going to see a lot of defense from this team as well. Um,
Oh yeah,
and I don't know, from seeing this team, it's way too early to talk about rankings, and I will get to these rankings sometime during the summer for Big 12, ACC, Big 10. I've been going over this about like over the last few weeks. I'm like, is it really too early to talk about it right now? Because now we got like all these players who are still, trying to decide where they want to go, and we still got some players still waiting to see if
if they
they're
get their
either
name
going to keep,
called,
yeah, if they're gonna keep their name in the draft or if they're gonna go to school. So
yeah,
we
and
gotta wait until the deadline till next
it's
week.
it's really hard to do those preseason rankings because I mean anything can happen. I tried to rank the Big 12 teams last year, and like I came back in March and looked at it, and it was nowhere where I thought I at the beginning it was going to be. It's just really hard.
Right.
Guys, teams add players throughout the off season, and like you said, guys are in the draft and still might get their name called on draft night, and some guys are still going to withdraw. So a lot can happen from now till November. So
Absolutely, and I mean, whenever I was talking about, I mean, like players and teams are still reloading. Kansas State, they
yeah,
already got a Marcus Johnson, a kid that played at Wheeling University, had a
yeah,
stellar year at Bowling Green, and is now going to be playing in the Big 12 for the Wildcats next season. Just committed yesterday, and that's honestly incredible. And shout out to Coach Richardson, one of the best coaches in not that's in the country, not just in Division II basketball. He's one of the best to ever do it
in
here
the
in the
country.
state.
Yeah,
Mr. Chris Richardson. Yeah, if he's watching this, I just want to shout out to him right there because he's one of the best to do it out of Wheeling U, and this goes to show you that he can coach. I mean, we got some like D2 basketball. Hopefully, I get to cover more of it sometime. Like, hopefully, I get to cover it
there's
more.
talent. There's a lot of talent. Yeah, the Mountain East and the PSAC in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of talent in those two conferences. And I remember watching Mark Johnson for the first time from Wheeling and just being like, "Whoa!" I mean, he's a big guy that can bring the ball up the court and knock a three down and hit it in your face. And I mean, it's just really impressive what he could do. And that was 2 years ago. So obviously his game's evolved even since then. Now he's at Kansas State. So really anxious to see what he does.
Me too. I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do as well. And I forgot to mention this earlier. But speaking of Marcus Johnson, I know he wasn't an in-state kid, but me and Jagger were talking about this before we started. And as of right now that Braden Hawthorne just committed to Kentucky and Austin Ball the day after committed to Eastern Kentucky after IU Indy's head coach got fired. We now have 13, or was it 12? Hold on. I think
12.
either
I think we
12.
counted 12. Yeah.
Okay, 12 in-state kids that are playing at the Division I level for 25 in the 2025-26 season. You have Caden Matheny, who's coming back for a sixth year of college eligibility, playing for a Liberty team that just won the Conference USA. You have Isaac McNeely, who was one of the star players at Virginia, one of the best 3-point shooters in the country, alongside Honor Huff, who is going to be playing for Coach Pat Kelsey at Louisville. And you have Sharon Young making his sophomore debut at Akron, but most likely going to be one of the star players there next season. You have
Yeah.
Deshaun Good, who is a Horizon League freshman, first team all freshman, is now going to be playing for the Horizon League champion Robert Morris after transferring to IU Indy. East Tennessee State has two in-state kids in Blake Barkley and Mekhi Johnson. You have KJ McClure coming back to Longwood. Austin Ball just announced that he's transferring to Eastern Kentucky. You have De'Ari Goodwin from Wheeling, played at Wheeling Park in his freshman and sophomore year, and then finished his career off at Lindsley. Wheeling, West Virginia native, now playing in the West Coast Conference, playing at San Diego. And you have Dylan Tingler, who transferred from Eastern Michigan to play at Drexel. With Coach Zach Spiker, who is a Morgantown high school grad and Morgantown native,
Yep.
and Alex Vargo, who is still playing at North Florida after, I think, he originally played at Youngstown, but then he played at the JUCO level at Garrett College in Maryland. and now he is still at North Florida after we just heard about Coach Driscoll resigning to be the new associate head coach at K-State. And also some news that I just saw here just about an hour ago. Ben Howlett, West Liberty's head coach, will now take the head coaching gig at IU Indy since
That's
Paul
huge.
Cortho's firing. So yeah, a lot of big news here in the state.
Yeah. And I think out of all those guys that you mentioned on that Division One list, I think out of all those guys, I think Sharon Young has the most potential. He's only a sophomore. He's still young. He had a really good freshman year, and I think Akron's a good place to be. And I think, even after this year, if he has a really solid sophomore campaign, I think he can. I think he could go somewhere big.
Absolutely. I do see that. Caden Matheny, I think he'll and with the talent that Liberty brings back, they'll be good too. And,
Yeah,
hopefully see those teams win their respective conferences again. And it's just awesome to see, man. It's really awesome to
yeah,
see in the state. And then lastly, I want to talk about the WVU athletics as a whole. It's been great. Um, Ren Baker has done an amazing job with athletics in general. We have Rich Rodriguez back, coming back to coaching at the Power 4 level. He's won at this level before, and I think he'll go ahead and win it again. I know we have a lot of talent. We got a lot of players from the transfer portal, a lot of good linemen. Nico Markiol is looking to prove himself
yeah,
under this Rich Rod system. Um, and Reed Carrico, I definitely want to bring his name up. I know he's not from West Virginia, but he's from the border, from Ironton, Ohio, which is like right next to Huntington. He's got some potential. We saw it from him last season to now. I think he'll fit well in Coach Rod's system. And we were just talking about Ross Hodge and WVU, and that's the baseball team.
yeah.
WVU baseball is having a really good
Baseball
season
won
as well,
10-3. Yeah, I
and
think
they're Big 12 regular season champs.
they are. Yep. And I think right now WVU athletics as a whole is in the best place it could be and the best place it has been in a really long time. I think Ren's got him in a good spot, and obviously the whole thing with DeVries leaving last or couple months, like 2 months ago, a lot of controversy around that, but none of that was on Ren. He made it very clear that he told Coach DeVries that we had the resources here to provide him with to win a national championship and make this a place to play. But other than that, I think with Rich Rod being back in town and new basketball coach, I think things are on the upside. I think a lot of good things can come out of this.
Absolutely, I do agree. I do feel like Ren Baker is pushing this athletics department in the right direction, and hopefully this will bring us some championships in the future. I mean, I feel like we've seen it. We've seen it with soccer. We've seen it with baseball, and now I have a feeling it's time to do it in football and basketball. So, does it
Yeah,
bring us back into the national relevance? And because that's what we're made of. We're blue collar. We're
yeah,
hard workers. This is what the state's all about. So, and I think Ren Baker definitely describes what it is to be a Mountaineer. So,
yeah.
um,
I think Ren really understands what it is to be a true West Virginian. He knows what the culture's like here, and the as you said, the work ethic and the blue collar and what the people are like. And I just think he really gets it. And I think bringing Rich Rod back couldn't have been any better because he was already here. He understands the people and what it's like and what it takes to win.
Absolutely, and just it's awesome to see that, and it's awesome to see the state growing as a whole, not just in, but like we were saying, it's growing, not just in the athletics WVU, but just like in the state in general. And I feel like we covered that up pretty well. But lastly, I know that was like the last thing, but um, that's definitely what I mentioned about the in-state kids playing. We still have some in-state kids right now in the basketball level that are getting looked at by high major schools, including Mr. Eli Stankum from Wheeling
Yeah,
Central. Just won a state championship at Wheeling Central Catholic, and is doing a really good job in the spring summer ball for Pro 16 West Virginia Gold. From what I've been hearing, some Power 5 schools have been reaching out to him. It was actually from a tweet from Coach Juwan Staten, former Mountaineer point guard, who is the 17 under head coach at West Virginia Gold, saying that ACC, Big 10, and Big 12 schools are already reaching out to Mr.
wow.
Eli Sankum. So
Yeah,
Hopefully, get to hear some news about him in the coming days to see if any high major schools are going to offer him, which will be he'll get those offers. I mean, how we've seen
yeah.
it.
I
I got
think
this.
I think I think Sankum's a guy like Hawthorne that could jump in the rankings throughout the next year or two. What is he, a junior currently, going into his senior
Yes,
year?
he's going into
Yeah,
his senior year.
yeah. But yeah, I watched him in the state tournament this past spring, and I was just really impressed with his game and his ability to score, and just he can really play the game at his pace. He controls the game, and he can do what he wants, and he can score how he wants.
Absolutely, he does. And shout out to Coach Danny Sankum, the head coach at Cal U of PA, which is his dad. He's definitely a coach's son because he can play the game, so fluently. I
Yeah,
mean, he's
really
like I
good.
said before, he's like a baby. He's like baby Luka Doncic playing on the
Yeah,
court. He's really good. He can shoot, he can pass. He can defend in all aspects of the game. He's a really good ball player, and I can't wait to see his game develop, and I can't wait to see him get more offers at the Power 4, Power 5 level because it's going to happen. Not officially, we haven't gotten any offer. Doesn't have any offers yet, um, but hopefully here in the next few weeks we'll get him on the podcast here as well, along with Braden Hawthorne. Definitely going to try to bring him back on the podcast as well, and definitely getting some more guests on the podcasts here in the next coming weeks, especially the players from the Adidas 3SSB circuit. I've been mainly covering that circuit this past spring, as I'm going to be heading over to Rock Hill, South Carolina, for the Palmetto Road Championships, as I'll be covering that week from July 9th through the 13th. And I'll be because we got some in-state kids that are playing that circuit. Noah Lewis from George Washington, he's been getting looked at by mid-major schools. We got Daz Reed from Huntington Prep, originally from played at South Charleston High School. He's playing for the New York Whiz Kids in the AAU circuit. So yes, a lot of in-state connections there, and
yeah.
definitely going to keep you guys updated on that.
Noah Lewis, he was another one that I was really impressed with in Charleston during the tournament. I mean, I saw him play all three games against University, Morgantown, and in the state championship against Spring Mills, and just the way that he moves inside and in the paint, he's another one that can score well, and I think he can only improve over the next year.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to wrap it up here. Just want to appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen to us or watch us live on YouTube. And this will be out on the Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to try to keep this consistent as possible. Appreciate Mr. Jagger Matheny, and also congratulations on graduating for high school tomorrow.
Thank you.
Really excited for you for your future. And man, I'm just really excited for just trying to get ready for the season to start. But it's only
Oh yeah.
May. It's only May, but it's
Hey, we
almost
sleep in
gonna.
May though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be here before you know it. So appreciate you guys taking the time watching this. Thank you guys so much. And as always, keep on keeping on, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you all.
Thank you for watching the Ollie Reed Sports Podcast on YouTube. For more basketball content, make sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also give us a like and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for more college basketball and high school basketball content just like this.